Welcome. It is Tuesday, May the 12th, 9 p.m. in the DMV. I'm Sam Giacinto.
And 6 p.m. here in Los Angeles. I'm Jack Armstrong. Welcome to Tech Talk Live. Today, we have a very special guest joining us. But first, Sam, we have a special sponsor.
Before we get started, Tech Talk Live is brought to you by AirPixels. AirPixels builds AI flight planning software that lets pilots pull off shots that used to take a full crew in 3 takes on film sets, over rooftops, or anywhere a drone needs to fly smart. See what they're up to at airpixels.com.
Awesome. So pitching podcasts today. Getting booked on podcasts can transform your business if you know how to pitch. Our guest today is Henry Gia, founding engineer of PodPitch.com, a company that's helped thousands of entrepreneurs and experts land the podcast features that matter. Henry's here to break down what actually works in 2026. Welcome, Henry.
Hey, it's very nice to be here. And it's 4 p.m. here at New York City. Yeah.
It's good to have you.
Yeah.
So
very happy to see you guys. Yeah, so my name is Henry, and I'm a founding engineer at PodPitch, and we are a tool that help public relation agencies for media outreach and help them book guests on podcasts.
Which is a little ironic, right? Because we're on a podcast right now. So in some ways, it's
yeah. So
we found each other.
A couple of my colleagues says we are building a podcast tool, right? And it must feel nice to be on the podcast ourselves, and it actually increased the credibility for us, right?
Of course.
Yeah,
the more podcasts. So yeah, tell us a little bit about PodPitch, and so for anybody that's not familiar, it's how can it help? Like so you guys have got a database and everything. So how does it work? Just with if you're a business owner, you want to get on podcasts, and then also on the other side, how does it work if you're running a podcast?
Yeah, so we started at the end of 2023. And so the founder of us had a pinpoint, like he runs a CPG business at the time, and he wanted to go podcast, right? And he had to spend hours every day using the Google search, like what podcast should I go to, and write an email himself and send them. Like on a good day, he could maximally send maybe 20 emails per day to 20 hosts. And then he came up with the idea, why wouldn't we automate the whole process? And at the time, it was the spike of AI thing, right? End of 2023. And more number of people using AI to write stuff, to find relevant information. So we came up this platform that we automate everything from identifying the relevant podcast, write the emails, and even send the emails is fully automated. And also they can schedule the follow-up automatically if the host doesn't reply. And the results seems pretty good so far. Yeah.
That's great. Awesome. So who is an ideal client? And obviously podcasts are a great platform for all stages of companies, but would you say who is the ideal client, and is it just for big names, or can early stage people benefit from using PodPitch?
That's a great question. I think a lot of people can benefit from podcasts, right? So first of all, we have to realize that podcast is one of the most underestimated platforms to increase the brand visibilities. Also, we actually have a range of customers from public relation agencies, which is actually our main customers because they run PR for a lot of companies. public relations agencies. Also, we have a lot of in-house entrepreneurs. They have like in-house PR team and trying to guide their founders to be on podcast. And also we have a lot of freelancers, like indie hackers, like who not as big as traditional enterprises, but they have their own brand and they have their own stories that they want to talk about on podcast. So they are a range of people can benefit from podcasts. And there are actually a lot of more side effects, like a better side effects. So for me, I'm neither a founder or I'm not running a like a e-commerce brand, right? But like I can come to your podcast to talk about my vision and my thoughts, and the episode we are recording right now is going to be on the internet. I think mostly forever. And then so so someone in the world can heard my thoughts and my voice, and it's actually a very fun experience for me. Yeah.
So I have a question about AI, obviously these days, and visibility, right? You just brought up AI is so important, and increasing that visibility. Are you seeing with tools like PodPitch the sense that that not only transcripts are being accurately like ingested and stored, but like when you ask ChatGPT down the road about maybe you or this episode or PodPitch, it can it utilize podcasts to become more intelligent, like AI? Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Yeah, I think you one of the hottest trend right now is the AI SEO, right? Are we aligned here?
Yeah.
Like AI SEO is a very important thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
AI SEO visibility in chat results. Yeah.
GEO, generative engine optimizations. And funny thing, I actually talked with a really famous guy on Twitter about SEO in San Francisco last week, and actually the number one thing that can increase your SEO AI for AI is either a podcast transcription on the internet, like something that like episodes on Apple Podcasts, right, or episodes on Spotify, or an article that published by a creditworthy journalist, right? So these things are really help your AI SEO. I think is more than most people expected. So if anybody search on ChatGPT right now, if you look at the sources, right, the most of the sources are going to be the media sources on the internet. So it's actually drastically help the visibility through AI. And I want to expand on the visibility a little bit more because there are also a lot of things you can do with the podcast, right? So for example, like after this episode, after we get off the podcast, right after this episode, I'm actually going to use some AI tools to make several clips, like 5 to 10 seconds clips, and I can post them on my social medias, right? I can post on my Twitter, LinkedIn. It also help my visibility on search engine or AI.
So repurposing that content. I guess it's interesting to me because do we need to know that media source that ChatGPT is utilizing? Like if you ask it about something where it pulls the information from a podcast episode, is it important that it references like the fact that it was a podcast? Or I guess I'm assuming that AI is trained on podcast transcriptions to some extent.
100%, yes. So I think it definitely depends on how big the podcast is, right? So, but if you happen to land a show on Joe Rogan, for example, that show is 100% gonna improve your visibility on AI significantly, like very significantly. Yeah, and but also on small shows, if you accumulate your number of appearance, it definitely gives AI more context who you are and what business you do. If for example, if I run a e-commerce brand right now, like I run a alternative brand to Pepsi, I have my own Coke. If I mention it multiple times on podcast, and I post on my LinkedIn, someone else repost them, repost my episode, it's gonna have that cumulative effect on SEO, and it definitely gonna improve my visibility. So yeah, so small shows actually also matters in terms of the quantity, and also but definitely a very high quality show gonna boost it up greatly. A lot. Yeah,
it's interesting because obviously, Joe Rogan's podcast has a huge audience. I think smaller podcasts
keep harping on Joe Rogan too, but I guess something that comes to mind too is those podcasts are often 2 to 3 hours. So do you ever have issues with context windows, and how do you summarize and find relevant? Is there a way to kind of pick out what's relevant and what's not, right, from a longer form? And it's too, if anything's too technical, steer us away from it. But I am curious because context windows are the bane of everybody's existence, right? You want to fit everything in there, but you can't, and that's
so. That's a great question. So I can't go too deep right here, but definitely context engineering is a very very popular topic. I think everybody's talking about this year, like context window, right? Context engineering. But as a engineer myself, I think with the appropriate techniques, you can solve the issue with the context windows, right? There are a lot of techniques you can do, right? Your last episode have a guy talking about the chunkings, right? Chunking is
it's right up the alley.
Chunking is absolutely one of the most popular way to solve the context engineering, right? There are multiple ways, but the most important thing is like to grab the most relevant info from a long form content. Because like, for example, here's a 2-hour transcript, right? 2-hour audios, right? Not everything that people talk on Joe Rogan show is relevant to you. Only certain points are relevant, like what he talks about in the minutes 20, right? Like what they talk about, maybe they talk about the AI, right? That's relevant to me. So it's really important to identify the time and to extract what's relevant for you. So context window is not a huge problem. But we surely process we surely process a lot of informations to help our customers to guide on the shows they want to be on, which is actually the core thing of us is I think we have one of the best we actually have one of the best algorithm to identify the relevant shows for my customers.
That's really important, right? Getting on the right shows. How do you what do you recommend, like if you're starting a podcast? I know that a lot of people consider starting a podcast, and obviously maybe you don't have a big following. How can you utilize PodPitch to do outreach, and what do you recommend like someone who's starting out? Where do they begin?
So you mean podcast host or the like which
I would say as a podcast host. So if you're receiving, I'm assuming pitches from, PR agencies and entrepreneurs that want to come on your show. because they don't sign up with PodPitch, right? Like
Yeah.
the more you publish episodes, right? Like if you're a current show publishing episodes, your software understands, hey, this show every week puts up episodes, and then you're matching the guests with based on like past guests, I'm assuming, or something like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah. So so first of all, I have to say something really bold. I would say that podcast hosts actually benefit from our platform as well. Because they actually getting a lot of interview opportunities that they weren't have before. So because for example, we have a lot of high profile clients, right? And they're using our platform to reach out to the podcast host, and that's actually a massive opportunities for podcast hosts to get a high profile people to interview on their show, and if that person who interview on their show post on their social medias, right? Like for example, I may have like 20,000 followers on LinkedIn. I posted it actually increased the listeners drastically, right? So as podcast host, I would say there's definitely needs several ways to help your show to be visible, not only on our platform but also on the internet. First thing that I've seen from a lot of shows is missing a specific niche of what they are focusing on, right? Our show here, Tech Talk Live, is actually doing a fantastic job on the niche because we are focusing on the tech news, right? On the emerging technologies. But some shows are talking a lot of stuff, like a diversity of things on the show, right? Because maybe like they
It's like
switch.
lifestyle podcasts. It's like, what
Yes.
does that mean? Living.
Exactly.
Huh,
Yeah. I personally don't have any objections to those shows, right? There are for sure some good shows like Call Her Daddy, if you know.
Yeah.
For sure there
Oh,
are
yeah.
a very solid shows in that area. But for small shows want to be bigger, you must have a specific niche that's you want to focus on to begin with, right? If you're Joe Rogan, sure, it doesn't matter, right? But unfortunately, you are not. So you gotta start with a specific niche, and then you must definitely do a great job on your descriptions, on your podcast descriptions, right? So you have to let people know. Not only so before it's like you have to let people know what you're talking about. Right now, since agents are so booming, right? Like everybody has an open cloud installed on their MacBook or iMac or Herms, whatever the agents people are using, right? So you have to make your descriptions not only comprehensible for human beings, but also make your descriptions comprehensive for the agents beings, right? So it definitely help people to discover your show a lot. And also if you could offer transcriptions on your website, that's also a good way for agents or human to discover you. That's my advice here for people who wants to start a podcast. I'm actually I'm not an expert here on being a podcast host because as you know, I don't even have a show myself. But I think I'm a good observer because I've been observing it for 2.5 years now. I helped multiple people to get on shows, and actually, I'm actually thinking about starting a show myself, maybe at the future. So yeah, that's my general advice to have more visibility over the internet.
Yeah, no, Henry, great tips, and
Yeah.
it's interesting also about the transcript on your site, because I think even myself, I've kind of assumed that there are softwares and other tools that are kind of doing it for you, but I think it's a good reminder that when you have a podcast and you have a domain, you should publish a transcript, on that website for AI as well to
For AI.
gather more. basically make the job easier, right, for the AI and the agents and people to read, and not only have to listen, right? I think it's interesting. Yeah, you bring up a lot of good tips for podcast hosts, but what do the people that want to go on podcasts, what do they want to see out of the show? Like, is it more important, the audience that the podcast already has, or is it just they want to be, obviously a likable, host? What do you think are like the most important things that the business owners, the entrepreneurs, the PR companies, what are they looking for to like actually pick the right podcast that they want to go on?
Yeah. So I would be honest here. I think the number one thing that most people care about is absolutely listenership of a show. Unfortunately, the listenership of podcasts are pretty anonymous, right? There's no public data on how many listeners of a show. So at first, there are definitely customers who hesitate on going to a show because he or she has no idea the listenership is, right? But the more we are in the business, the more we discover that podcast as a stream to advertise is actually even the show is very small, like it only has like 500 listeners, right? That 500 listener is way more sticky than people think, right? Because for people, like for a person who constantly listen to a show, it actually takes a lot of effort for that person to keep track on every episode. So it's actually the five. So it's a quality versus a quantity problem right here, right? So you rather to have so let's make an example of Google Ads, right? Would you rather to have an ads that sends to 50K people, 50,000 people who don't care much about what it mentions, or you want to have 500 very loyal people who trust what you said on a podcast? I think it's it's very subjective, but I choose the latter one. I want to have 500 people who right after this show gonna believe what I said and follow me. I choose the 500 listeners. So I think people constantly overlook how stickiness a podcast is to a person, right? Yeah,
That's a good point.
yeah.
It's about the validity or the relevancy of the people you reach versus just spraying and praying.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. I think from our own understanding, podcast is actually top 3 the most credible platform for people to believe on, right, or trust, right? So because we are on a casual conversations right now, right? And what we recommend here, like let's say I recommend, let's say, I said Vercel is a great platform to host your websites in a very casual conversation. It actually much trustworthy than the spam emails that people you flash in people's inbox, right? Or the billboards you set up on Times Square, like Vercel is so back. Like if we casually say, oh, I have we have a really solid experience on using Vercel. People who are listening this right now will believe it much more than anything else. Yeah.
No, trusted. No, you're right. We've built a trusted audience. Well, I think it's interesting too, the consistency of podcasts, right? Like, I don't think anyone is as keen to go on a brand new show, maybe unless that the host is like, extremely, well known, because there's less exposure already. But I feel like even in our show here, the more episodes we've seen a lot more pitches from from companies that want to come on and talk. So I think I do agree with you. Yeah, I think your software is really good for
Yeah.
podcasts that I would assume are consistent and have hit a certain number of episodes. I'm surprised. Does that play a role in any of the, you don't have to give away secrets, but any of the algorithm or any of what the PR companies are looking for in a good show?
Yeah. So definitely I agree with you here though. I should look up how many the pitches you got are from our platform. I should look at that data. But
You should, yeah.
that would be super interesting to see. Yeah, but the PR agencies are definitely trying to get their clients, right? Their clients on the show that their clients want, right? And sometimes I have to be honest, like sometimes people have no idea what shows are fitting them. So there's actually a educational process here, right? For from the PR agencies to their clients, or from us to the clients, right? So like, hey, I think this show is a fit for you, but generally we are looking for shows that we predict that maybe have a sticky audience, right? Uh, so me and Tech Talk Live is definitely a perfect match, right? Because I'm talking about tech, and you guys must have a very sticky audience who care about tech and entrepreneurship, or the new startups that are coming. Yeah, right. So we are a perfect match.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Tech, software, tools,
yeah,
AI, yeah, cutting edge tech.
yeah. Even the show is small. People don't care that much,
Yeah.
right? It just have to pass a certain threshold most of time. It's worth their time. Like let's say if a show has more than roughly 1,000 listeners, it's actually a perfect fit for most of people, right? If you spend half of your hour, half an hour of your time, or 40 minutes, right? And you spread your voice to 1,000 very loyal people who listen to you very carefully. That's a very legit trade-off of your time, right? If you're holding an event, right? Most people are holding events. Right? I'm not sure if you guys go to events a lot, but like let's say you have a corporate event, right? uh, are there going to be like 1,000 people on your event that's like a brand new people on your event that you don't know? Probably no, right? And the events takes like a few hours, right? So why would I rather spend like 30 minutes, right, on a show, and it has 1,000, the same number of listeners, but more loyal, and who are more willing to listen to me.
Well,
So
that's true. Well, and even if it's recorded, I'm assuming it might go on YouTube, but it's not the conversation that might have happened at an event in front of an audience is still, I guess it's not part of a show that carries the credibility, the weight of credibility.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
which means a lot. That's true.
Yeah, credibility is actually everything here. Especially from my observations, long form content like podcast usually have it's usually are more usually credible than the short content like a tweet, or like a marketing emails, right? So long form content are more credible to people, even in psychology, right? Like people trust long form content. Uh, yeah.
Yeah. So what about is statistics are you guys tracking and going forward in just the podcast industry, and audio media in general in the future? Like, you mentioned it is hard, to get accurate numbers, of listenership of a podcast, but and I know that's not always important, but is PodPitch doing something to estimate that, or what are you seeing like going into the future, like
Yeah.
not only with AI listening to episodes and stuff, but yeah, how would you say that like PodPitch can estimate listenership accurately, if that's even important.
Yeah, I think so it's not a secret that we have estimations of listenership for mostly every podcast. And the topic, the estimation is actually being talked a lot over the internet by many people. Like how do you think how accurate the PodPitch listener is to a podcast, right? I should actually verify with you guys secretively on your show after the recording, but but I think it's definitely a tough job, right? Because as we all know, there isn't a public available source to know the listenership, but we actually spend a tremendous efforts here to get a as much accurate data as possible to come up a number that we would think close to to the actual listener. We actually cross-verified. We actually cross-verified with some shows already, and I think the number is fairly accurate. From we cross-verify from a show that have a billion listener, not a billion, a million listener, to shows that only have like 100 or 200 per episodes. And I would confidently say we are one of the most accurate platforms that can have the listenership number. I wouldn't say we are the most accurate one, because I have no idea if other platforms have the same data. But as far as I know right now, we have a very accurate listener numbers. And a lot of customers actually recognize it and trust our estimations to use the platform. I think that's one of the secret sauce of us.
Data visibility is a big cornerstone for really anything, right? It's your moat. It's what draws people to the platform. Anything you want to know, the accuracy is a selling point.
Data is everything, right? So data is everything. So I actually went to a customer office. So there's a secret tradition of us, right? So occasionally, not always, occasionally we went to customer office to work for a day. We are a very mobile team, right? So occasionally we went to a customer office, and then one time I went to a customer office in New York City, a big PR agency, right? And I would honestly say their job is somewhat miserable. It's a fun job to be a PR professional. I respect them a lot, but I think the content of their work every day it's fairly boring, right? Because nothing has visibility here on the media, right? You don't know how many listeners a podcast have. You have no idea how many readers have on a news article, right? So you have to do a lot of research every day. Like the moment you got in your office, you open up your Google, right? And you look informations of Jack, who is Jack Armstrong. Like you pull all the bios of you, Jack, and then what is Tech Talk Live, and then they estimate the listenership themselves, and most of the time it's not accurate at all. So why would there's a platform, right, do all the dirty works for you already, right? And then, for example, and the PR agency wants to put a client on your show, right? They have to go by your previous episodes one by one. Like what you talked last week, the chunking, right? What did you guys talk about last week, right? Is he a fit or not, right? Right now with the booming of AI and with our evolutions of algorithm, right? Those things can be really reliably handled by AI, right? So the AI can certainly tell Henry is a perfect fit for Tech Talk Live, and here's what Tech Talk Live talks about previously, and here's what what we think you should prepare your clients to talk about in the show. Everything here is handled by AI, which is actually one of my core philosophy of building a product from day one, is trying to integrate our platform into the customers' day-to-day workflows. Like it's like providing the oxygen for the customer success, right? If I leave PodPitch, I can't succeed at the same level anymore, right? I'm so rely on PodPitch to succeed on my business. That's what we the one of the philosophy we have on building the product.
Yeah. No, it's hard. I mean, I've been asked about this show with numbers by a PR agency that represented a past guest. And even myself, it's interesting, 30-day numbers, 90-day numbers, 6-month numbers. I mean, and it's also kind of like, it's interesting seeing the data, and then also, like the more episodes that you have, the more people can listen to the past ones. And it's almost like, but like, how do you stay, relevant? Like, because a lot of shows want I'm assuming like 90-day numbers, because sometimes people download episodes and listen to them. They'll listen to them all at once. But anyway, it is a fascinating like topic of accuracy. And then it's like website visitors. That's another one, right? Like people don't really know how many customers you have or how many visitors you get, or like it's interesting.
Yeah, the whole thing here is a little bit vague, like untransparent at all. Like it's not transparent at all. And I think the lack of transparency here actually takes a huge amount of time of PR agencies to get their work done, right? So they desperately need a platform that can provide all these insights for them, maybe automate their job, and then they can focusing on acquiring customers, preparing their customers, right? All the boring work like writing emails or looking for the relevant shows are all delegated to AI, which is actually I would say it's actually a revolution for the PR industry after we started the trend. Yeah.
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 No. Yeah, no, that's really cool. Yeah, Sam.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. We
well,
actually.
I guess
Yeah,
given
Sam.
the listening to all this, I guess it's curious. AI has obviously been a very fundamental force throughout the world, right? But I guess do you see differences with more powerful or capable models coming out at a certain point, whether it be creating a more accurate profile on a podcast, or determining like what a guest might want to talk about? Because I commonly think about the threshold of the skill of introspection, right, and kind of knowing what you want or what you're thinking is kind of maybe one that's lost among a lot of people. And I think it's only a matter of time until certain models will be more capable than the people themselves at determining what they want. When you ask people what they want, and I'm guilty of this, right? Sometimes I don't know what I want. So it's like, but if you fed a transcript of what I talked about to AI, in some ways it could probably identify patterns that we just don't have the capacity to. So I'm curious, is there an inflection point where the tools know more about the people themselves? I mean, is this how have you seen the capabilities evolve with the models themselves?
Yeah, that's a great question, right? So I think from the early days, the AI models are absolutely not as capable as right now, especially when we were back in 2024, early 2024. The models were pretty incapable of doing a lot of things. I think the aha moment for me happened this year with one model release. I absolutely cannot expose what provider we are using right now, but definitely the aha moment happened earlier this year. I think not only it helps a lot of features we have, it also improved the productivity of our team. Yeah. So yeah, as we can see the trend of AI models, right? It handles the context window bigger and bigger. It's previously losing the context. If the context window is much bigger, right? I think that issue is being solved. And also when choosing AI models, there's always a trade-off, right? So creativity versus hallucinations. So for example, sometimes a model can be very creative, but it hallucinated a lot, right? Sometimes the model is super stable, have a very stable output, right? But the output is really boring that people don't even want to read it. So there's always a trade-off on choosing the models. And yeah, but I see the trend of the models getting really, really capable as we step into 2026. And a lot of our work become much easier. And the end results that the customers see are also getting better. Yeah.
Yeah, I do have to ask you too about the pitching. Actually, like we haven't really talked much about the pitching process, which is obviously using AI. So yeah, I think you bring up a good point about hallucinations, right? Like which was more of a problem in the past. So how can you ensure like that data quality? Like what makes a good pitch? Because I'm assuming you're not reading every email before it's sent, right?
Yes, not for me. Some people do.
Yeah.
Some people do read. Some people do read every email before they send, which is totally understandable, right? For me, no. I trust what AI says. In related to what Sam talked about just now, right? The aha moments, right? This year, I like from this year, I basically fully trust what AI says. I think it's getting a point that the hallucinations it's very minimal. I can't say it's like totally gone, but the hallucination is very minimal. And I actually post a tweet this year. I said something really funny. I said our platform is so cracked that I'm legitimately hopping on a few podcasts in the next month to prove it. So I only sent 4 emails and I got 2 podcast reply.
Wow.
2 podcast invite.
Wow.
Right. So there's actually no bad AI models, right? There's only bad pitches, right? And there's no bad client, like there's no bad customer. Like some people say, hey, my customer is not as famous as Joe Rogan. Can he go to podcast? I said 100%, right? Because if the pitch is very appropriate, right? And with all the insights we have in regarding to the podcast, the AI will write you a perfect pitch, and it's actually much better than the pitch you write yourself. Because when you write the pitch, you have no idea preference of the host, right? Like what they want, what their target client is. But with the help of AI, you can actually write a better pitch than yourself, than human writer. And the AI pitch actually sounds, I would say, sounds very human. I think most people cannot even identify it's from AI. Did you
scary like that now? It's getting scary. Scary good.
Yeah, scary good. How was my pitch?
It was good. Yeah, no, it was good. I do have to say, I think the more like, okay, so I don't know what you think where the podcast industry is going in the next 2 to 3 years. I mean, I do think it's cool as a podcast host, right? Like we are looking for guests. We are, a stable show with a growing audience. And I think that it does allow us the ability to have more guests. But I do see similarities with certain pitches. I don't think it was you specifically, but they'll reference a past episode and they'll be like, based on this episode. And sometimes I laugh to myself. I'm like, something tells me you didn't listen to our episode, And it's
Yeah.
like, it's just because I don't know, like maybe they did, I don't know, but it's just I still kind of think, oh well, we're small. What are the chances that this person actually listened to that obscure episode with that one guy, and that was a small guest, like we've had bigger guests, we've had smaller guests, so I think that kind of to me gives it away a little when the AI model is utilizing a past episode's transcript and then trying to personalize the message. Do you understand? Like,
I do
you probably
understand.
have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's no secret that a lot of other platforms are doing the same, a pretty similar AI thing as us. Not everybody gonna make the emails sounds like a human, right? So
Yeah.
do keep an eye on the emails from PodPitch, right? So we have we have very good customers, can share a lot of stories, and yeah. So but yeah. So not every platform can make the email sounds like human. We did put a tremendous efforts on the email quality. We've been testing a lot internally to see what's the best for each customer. And yeah, I think the goal, the key here is definitely have the variability, right, of the email, and to make it as genuine as possible. I wouldn't see this as a spammy emails, right? Because the host, like whoever use our tool to be on podcasts, genuinely wants to be on the podcast. Like it's not like a spam a bunch of like I spam a bunch of like hundreds of podcasts and see who replies, like who happens to reply. That's not the case. Like we after we match, right? We identify the relevant show, and if the customer decides to send a pitch, they genuinely wants to be on the podcast, and I believe they actually did a lot of research before or after the pitch being sent. They surely do a lot of research. Yeah. So it's definitely not as not most people, like some people, a few people think it could be a spam. No, that's definitely not the case.
You're right, because you're saying they've narrowed a list, and they've, even though the process is automated potentially, with AI to make it more efficient, they do genuinely want to be on that show. They've reviewed the podcast, they've done their research, and they do hope to be on the show. So pitching with AI, and creating a human like, tone, so that podcast hosts respond. That's what is important, and what you're seeing is converting.
Sure. They are very genuine. And just like think about this, like think about the tool as their a personal assistant, like a human personal assistant, right? They like most of podcast hosts do now know that how much effort the people put behind the scene to be on the show, right? They do a lot of research, right? Some of the work are automated by AI. I think we shouldn't be so against it, right? Because just think about the AI as a personal assistant who do the boring job. Even with the help of AI, the host actually put a lot of like effort into it by listening to the show themselves, getting the vibe right. Because AI, even someone has the transcription, they don't get the vibe of the show, right? Like, what's the emotion like in the show? Like, is this a show that's very happy, or the host or the clients, the guests on the show are a little bit weird? they don't know. So they have actually listened to the show to get the emotional side of an episode. So there's a lot of work being done by the PR professions here. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good to know. Good to know. I'll keep looking out for future emails. And I'll keep that in mind. You know, when I read them, I'll be like, okay, yeah, there's a lot going on the backside.
I think we do definitely provide a lot of guest candidates for the podcast hosts, right? We have a lot of famous people who are using the tool. One of the early customers we have runs PR for Mr. Beast, very early. Yeah, so we do have a lot of customers. I think some of them are public listed on our official websites. So we do have a lot of even a huge top 10 PR agencies are using our platform. So I think everybody wants to automate the boring job and do the fun part. It's just like a human nature, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, one last question for you, and I guess it is a little self-serving, but for podcasters such as ourselves, and for anybody listening who's also a content creator who would like to, grow their passion, what is one to, as someone who has been in the space perhaps extensively, day in day out, countless nights, what is your 1, 2, or 3 most important tips or tricks of the trade for someone who's looking to get into content creation? You already said kind of describe your niche. That's excellent, right? It's don't just ramble on the radio, but try and have some sort of cohesive theme so you can build a core audience, right? But any tips and tricks for the people out there listening tonight?
I think most people say this, but I want to say again, is consistency, right? We actually see a lot of shows that start off really, really small, and they quit maybe like on the 4th of the 5th episode, right? So if you have recorded more than 10 episodes, you're actually already better than 99% of people on content creation, right? And then there's I personally believe there's always a singularity moment, like a point that your show is gonna explode, like just how the universe were born, right? There's gonna be a singularity here that one day your show will have more visibility, right? So, but if you quit in the middle of we actually have seen this a lot, right? So a lot of shows start off like a year without people knowing about it, and one day suddenly with one episode with the one guest interview, right? It's being really, really popular and it's spiked up, right? So consistency is very important here. Even for not only for content creation, but also for every business, consistency is the key, right? So we are growing very, very fast past year and this year, but when we first started off, we weren't really have a lot of customers in the first few months, right? So it just takes consistency to be successful on anything. That's my general advice on content creation. I'm also growing my Twitter account. I'm starting off very, very small, but I remember the consistency. So maybe one day I will be explosive on Twitter.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I think it's a great thing. Yeah, a lot of people aren't consistent enough to the point, where if you just stuck with it a little longer, you'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
But well, Henry, thank you so much for your time coming on today. We loved hearing from you and everything that PodPitch is building. Anyone could go to podpitch.com and check out what you guys are up to. Super fascinating conversation. We appreciate it again. And Tech Talk Live is on every Tuesday with new episodes. Visit us on the web at techtalklive.xyz. Until next time, thanks again, Henry.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Bye.